What is up, guys, and welcome to episode 3 of Nerd Processing, a podcast about video games, movies, shows, comic books, and all other types of nerdy things. Makenzie, Jordan, Joey here again, and guys, we blew it. We missed our only chance this week at destroying the Fire Nation.
Oh, yeah. Hey, 2024 is our next opportunity, and we will take advantage of it for sure.
It is. We have a total eclipse here in 2024.
Yep.
No, that's a real opportunity. So that and getting powers from heroes.
Yep. Definitely would want Peter's powers, if you remember, because he could mimic everybody else's powers. So you're basically getting everybody's powers.
Yeah, he was the best. He could be Siler.
Siler was pretty cool, though.
I miss that show. Anyway, so we are here. We are back. And our main topic for this week is going to be tabletop and board games, a topic that I know very little about. So I'm hoping that these guys are going to drop some knowledge and, help us all learn a little bit about games that are not video games. So that's going to be fun to get into. But, before we do that, let's get into what we've been up to this week. So, Jordan, why don't you go first? Why don't you tell us what you've been doing?
Yeah, sure. This week, I haven't done a whole lot. I have an exam next week, so I've been mainly studying. And it seems like this week, I guess it went by fast because it doesn't feel like it's been that long since last week's episode. I haven't really played any Legends since I last talked about it. I did buy a little indie game on Steam called Dead Cells. And it is a side scroller, has like Dark Souls like combat. It's a lot of fun. I've had a blast playing it, but it's also super frustrating because if you die, you start all the way over again. But there are some things.
Is that kind of like explain that? Like what kind of is it like a side scroller or?
It's like a Metroid type.
Oh, okay.
I guess I don't mean side scroller like it's continually moving like Mario or something. I just mean it's a Metroid type style game.
Right. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and it is frustrating, but you get farther every time because you get better and you learn things. But when you get so far, I think I survived my longest time so far has been like 30 minutes, and that's getting a decent amount. I think I made it to like the third zone, and then I died and had to start all the way back at the beginning. But you do, you get these dead cells that you can purchase things, so it helps you keep some stuff if you start all over, so you're not like starting from scratch every single time. But that's been a lot of fun to play. Other than that, man, I really haven't done a whole lot, either video games or TV wise. It's just been working and studying, so pretty boring week for me.
You've been doing life things.
Yeah.
So yeah, life gets in the way of a lot of things that we enjoy.
Yep.
For sure. You watched Game of Thrones, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I definitely watched Game of Thrones. I'm super pumped for the finale, but I'm also super sad that it's already the finale.
Yeah, it's already here. It's come and went way too fast. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert, we're going to be doing a Game of Thrones episode soon. So that is going to be really cool to get into later. But for now, we're going to hold off until we see everyone's fate for this season. But yeah, so Joey, what have you been up to?
I've been preparing some stuff for D&D. We didn't get to play this last Sunday because we all had our different schedules and stuff, and it's hard. D&D is a time commitment. It's a big chunk of time, and it's hard to schedule your own time to do that. And so I've been doing that, and I've played a little bit of Rocket League, but real life commitments have been pretty hard on me recently, so I haven't really had a whole lot of time to really do a whole lot. I read this book, what's it called? I started reading Pillars of the Earth, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
And I've only just got into it. I only read like maybe a page.
Man, that is really, you're really into it.
I know.
Wow. Yeah.
And I don't know. I couldn't really get into it.
You got to give it more than a page, man.
I know,
I mean,
I
come
know.
on.
No, it's I don't know. I've read a lot about it. I've read and heard that it's really good. This coworker that I have, he says it's really good, and yeah,
You couldn't even tell me what it's about after reading just a page.
What's the main
Could
character's
not.
name? Can you tell us that?
Nope. Not.
Okay, then be quiet. It's irrelevant. You did mention Rocket League, though. I know that you're definitely our native Rocket League aficionado.
That's a decent word to use. I've spent probably too many hours of my life playing that game. Probably close to 800 now. Probably
Wow.
That is a lot.
between PC and Xbox. Definitely close to
Man,
800. I'm a level 45, 46, somewhere around there, and that's 800 hours almost. 500, 600, 700,
that's a
somewhere in there.
that's a lot of driving a car around,
You
smacking a
know?
ball.
That is a lot of flying through the air.
Yeah,
But like I said, that's all I've really been doing is Rocket League, and that's kind of just my chill game, I guess. So I
it
go
has
that.
it has. I don't know anything about Rocket League because I gave it up because it makes me want to break things. But it is a competitive mode, doesn't it? Like,
It does. I'm
yeah.
very much into that competitive part. I don't really do the casual stuff as much. Like anytime I play Rocket League, it's going to be competitive. Or this mode that they have called Drop Shot, and it's pretty much in Drop Shot, you're flying through the air, trying to hit the ball down onto the other opponent's side of the field to break their four. And once you hit a singular tile twice, the four breaks, and then you can score and use the floor as a goal. So that's a bunch of air, high flying.
Picturing this in my head right now just sounds like insanity.
It looks insane. It looks insane. Like you watch a bunch of people fly around in a regular Rocket League game. This is even more so because your boost automatically regenerates over time.
hmm
So that's really hectic. But
Man,
Rocket League's my
that
chill game.
I may have to give that a shot. Yeah, I'm just really bad at Rocket League. Rocket League's an incredible game. I mean, it's definitely up there with one of the most unique and greatest games of all time. But it's just not for me. It's not my thing.
When it comes out on the Switch, you might have a little bit more
Uh,
fun.
I will be getting it for Switch, mainly because I'm always looking for an excuse to play my Switch at all times. So,
I need one of those.
and it's
Yeah.
gonna be it's gonna be cross-platform. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that
for
is,
Sony.
well,
Sony's gonna be Sony.
Yeah.
Sony's gonna Sony. And they got to protect their stuff, but everyone else is kind of loosening up a little bit.
Yeah.
But that'll be the day. The day is coming. The day is coming whenever we'll be able to play whatever we want with anybody we want.
Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo
Now
Switch.
Now that I hear you say it, it's probably not coming. That's not a reality. Anyway, so what else? What else you got going on?
That's it.
Yeah.
Promise.
It's Rocket League and reading a page of a book.
Yep.
Okay.
I will say real fast if I can.
No.
Okay.
No,
go
Some sad news this week, or it may have been last week, but we didn't talk about it. Is that BioWare has ended all single player updates for Mass Effect, which just totally bums me out. Even though Andromeda was not, as well received, I guess, as 1, 2, and 3.
It was not good.
It's like they're just gonna. Well, I mean, I thought it was good. It just wasn't as good as the original trilogy. But that they're just not even going to finish off those stories that they had planted for DLC. It's just so frustrating. But anyway, I was going to mention that in my little segment of this week, but I forgot.
Yeah. So. We expect great things from BioWare, and I think that it wasn't expected.
I didn't play Mass Effect, and I tried, but from everything that I've read, it's been a real disappointment the way that they've treated Andromeda.
Well, I like to think of it in a way as like, imagine if I'd never played a Mass Effect game before, and then Mass Effect Andromeda came out. like I'd be blown away by that game. You know, there's so
Mhm.
much exploration and so many things to do, and you know the way your characters build. Like we've just seen it all before, and so it's hard to to do that again. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost impossible.
So
So
would it have been better to, I don't know, wait some more years and release it then, or something different in the Mass Effect area?
It's hard to say. I mean, they went through so much development issues with like people leaving the company, um, and it just kept getting delayed and delayed. And the animation stuff, while it was goofy and not necessary, didn't bother me as much. But I mean, I don't know. And part of it is looking at the original trilogy through like rose-tinted glasses because you're like, oh, these characters aren't as cool
mhm.
as the original characters. But we also had 3 full games to get to know those people. Not, I mean, it's hard to think of Mass Effect only in thinking of Mass Effect 1. We think of 1, 2, and 3.
Right, it's one
So,
game, it's one
right,
story. That
Andromeda is 1 game being compared to 3 games. And
yeah,
I think those characters, I mean, there are some of the characters I really liked, some of them I didn't like. Um, and I don't know what the whole issue was. They're switching gears to Anthem, and that better be the best freaking game they've ever put out for abandoning my baby like that. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. It's just disappointing to know that they're not going to be going back to it anytime soon. I don't know. I was so hyped for Andromeda, and even after playing it, I was still excited for DLCs and stuff. But they're just letting it go.
yeah, I know.
Gotta take him out
It
back
is.
and show him about the rabbits.
Don't look at the flowers. No, there's a reference for you. Um, but no, for me, me and Jordan, we seem to be going back with these card games.
Yeah.
I've played a lot of Hearthstone again. It's just so good right now. I try to get in there every day and do my dailies and get my gold and get my free pack. Really, other than that, though, I'm not doing too much in there. But I do regularly play that every day for a little while at least. The most exciting part about my week this week is, let me see if I can get it on here. If you guys can see it, is this? It's
Oh, nice.
it's an amiibo for the collection. It's a Link Wind Waker amiibo, not an amigo. Wow. These amiibo are my amigos, actually. But no, that amiibo goes for about $40 on eBay, and I was making my routine stop at the local video game stores around town and saw that they had it there for $10, and so
Wow.
I flipped out and bought it immediately. I didn't even look around the rest of the store. Like I just bought it because I was afraid someone else was going to come in and get it, and I just carried it around in my pocket the rest of the time I was looking for stuff. But super pumped about getting that. I have every Legend of Zelda amigo, all the Zelda amigos except for 2. So I'm missing the Majora's Mask and the Bokoblin from Breath of the Wild. So the collection will be complete soon.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, it's the
is
family's
exciting,
almost
actually.
here.
Gang's all here.
Yeah. I also played a lot of Splatoon. And neither of you guys have Splatoon, right?
No, I'm not even really sure what that is, honestly.
let me tell you about some Splatoon. Splatoon is one of my favorite games of this year. I didn't have a Wii U. I didn't play the first Splatoon, so I went into it knowing absolutely nothing about it, and it's just so it's fresh, and that's why I like it so much. Just because it's a fresh experience. It's a shooter. It is a shooter, third-person shooter, and the object of the game is to cover the ground in the same color or the different color ink as your opponent. So your team has to have more ink on the ground than the opponent. There are other game modes too. There's like a payload game type and like a capture the flag type thing and stuff like that. But the turf war is the main game type, and that's where you try to cover the ground. But yeah, and really like killing the other team is not really that important, but it is important at the same time because if they're not alive, then they can't ink the ground. So
Right.
there's weapon types, there's snipers, there's SMGs, there's all kinds of different stuff. There's amiibo for it, and you get crazy gear. One of the amiibo that I have, gives you this gear that it's the purple squid, and it gives you this power armor gear. You look like you're from Fallout. It's pretty crazy.
You sent me a picture of that.
Yeah, like that. It's awesome. I love it, and it's pretty rare. What else have I picked up? Retro games. I picked up Ninja Gaiden for NES, and I guess you could say I picked it up because I brought it home and it didn't work. So
Oh,
that's one of the setbacks you'll run into if you're collecting old games. Is that probably 25% of the time you're gonna get one that's a dud, and it's claimed that it's gonna be tested, but you never know until you get it, because I mean they're old. Like it's something, the batteries die out, and there's all kinds of things that can be wrong with it. But
Yeah.
so I was bummed that I didn't get to play that because I was looking forward to it. But yeah,
are you able
it was
to
dead.
return it?
Yeah, I can return it, but I really like the cart. But at the same time,
That was my next question.
that one's not that rare, so you can get it for like $10. So I'll probably return that and see if I can get something else cool. I feel like I got a lot of Nintendo stuff today. The late last night, the Pokken Tournament demo showed
I didn't
up
know that was
No,
out.
it did not.
yeah, Pokken Tournament
I didn't know there was gonna be a
for
demo.
Switch. Get it. It is amazing. I played a little bit of the first Pokken Tournament on Wii U and loved it. I never owned it, but I loved playing it at a friend's house and stuff. The demo, you get 15 games, and they can either be with you against the computer or you and another person. And you can choose between Pikachu, Empoleon. Is that how you say it? The Penguin third evolution.
Yeah.
And Charizard are the only 3 Pokemon you can play with. But it's super cool. I really like it. And I'm not into fighting games, but I love Pokemon. And some of the moves that they do are really neat. And it feels like a fighting game, but it also really feels like Pokemon.
Does it feel gimmicky?
No, I love it. I think that's awesome.
That's
It is
in my
essentially
way.
Tekken with Pokemon skins, but I never played Tekken, so this is Pokemon. And I really like it. I really enjoy it. The ultimates are awesome. Pikachu has this crazy thing where he just turns everything into electricity and throws people up in the air. I'm not good at fighting games.
Trying that though.
No, definitely get it. I mean, doesn't take long to download. It's not a big file.
Mm-hmm.
Jump in there for sure.
I'm probably gonna try that tonight before I go to bed.
Yeah, me too.
Go for it. Did you guys keep up with any of the stuff from Gamescom this week?
Here and there, yeah, a little bit.
Didn't know that was going on.
Joey, man, you gotta get with it.
I've been not in the gaming world too much this week.
I gotcha.
Here you go.
Honestly, other than there was some Nintendo stuff, there was some Samus Returns gameplay that looks freaking amazing, and I'm so ready for that. I watched that, so I'm ready for that, and all the Blizzard stuff, because Gamescom is basically like a mini BlizzCon, because all the Blizzard games have something new to announce. And related to Hearthstone, they released this Hearthstone cinematic, this short that's similar to the Overwatch shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see that?
I didn't see it, but
It's very Disney. It seems like it's trying to draw a younger audience in, but I love it. Like, it's got
Kind
this
of in
catchy
the
song.
Same style as the Overwatch short.
Yeah, but with the catchy song that gets stuck in your head forever.
You're
So.
welcome.
Hearthstone. That's a little preview. And there's a May short. I hate May. I was about to say I love May, but who likes May?
don't mind her.
She's terrible. But after watching this short, like the same thing with the Bastion short. Like, everybody hated Bastion, and then you see the soft side to Bastion, and then you're just like, man, that guy, that robot, there's a soft spot in your heart. Same thing with May. She's really not Satan. She's actually.
So explain to me the hate. Is it frustrating to play against May, or is she a crappy character to play?
Let me ask you this. Do you enjoy being continuously frozen and then shot in the face?
So it's just frustrating
and
to
while
play
you're
against
being
her.
waved at as you're getting shot.
I get you. I got you.
No, she's not like this ridiculously overpowered hero. she's just really frustrating. She's pretty easy to counter sometimes, but
Just got the kid
she's
those
just
flankers.
yeah. And the wall, man, you're just so many walls. But yeah, the May short is really good. Definitely go check that out if you haven't watched it. Along with Joey's reading, I was also reading a book this week, and I read much more than one page.
Congratulations.
It is a book about diagnosing characters in the Batman universe, and it talks about a lot about their personalities, and it goes really into the psychology and everything. And a lot of that, I mean, that's what I do every day for a job. And so I've gotten super into that, and I've gotten super into just reading about Batman and reading about how it's really misunderstood that, you know, I mean, from what you guys know, what kind of disorder would you say that Batman has?
I wouldn't even know.
I wouldn't even know either.
Most would probably say post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay, yeah.
Or PTSD, you know?
Right.
You know, because, oh yeah, he's been through a lot, you know, he's watched his parents get shot, and, you know, and he sat there and he watched them die. But really, what PTSD is, you know, PTSD is a disorder. And the word disorder is a very strong word, because a disorder is something that prevents you from functioning in life. And so Batman, you know, he watched his parents die, and yes, that was traumatic for him, but it didn't really, like, he was still able to perfectly function. It may even have helped him function more. You know, because I mean, he used that to fuel his life, and, you know, how he chose to live, instead of letting it drag him down, you know. So, you know, it's interesting, because people would assume that would be what it is, but it can't be, because it's not really, you know, it's not affecting the way that he functions. It's not making him function less.
Right.
Other than the fact that it affects his function to grieve, because he's never really, I don't know, Jordan, I mean, you know more about Batman, you know, it doesn't seem like he's ever really sad. Like, he's a pretty stern guy.
Yeah.
And I read that even, like, after the death of Jason Todd, one of the Robins, I can't remember which Robin, but he still doesn't really, you know, he doesn't grieve, even when Robin dies, which is almost like a son figure in several of the iterations.
Yeah, I definitely agree. He, like, when stuff bad happens to Batman or any of his sidekicks, I guess if you want to call him that, he doesn't grieve for them. He'll just, like, it's almost sometimes he just feels sorry for himself. And I don't know, sometimes it's frustrating to read, but he definitely doesn't, like, grieve at all about the death of any close family members or friends.
Yeah. So I guess you could say, I mean, that could be a way that it inhibits his functioning, but
yeah,
you know. Anyway, so that was a tangent, but let's get into what we're talking about this week, which is board games and tabletop games. Okay, go ahead.
Because we were talking about Batman and it being traumatic for him to see his parents die, is there any alternative beginning to how Batman became Batman besides watching his parents die?
I'm sure there is, but I couldn't
There's
tell
so
you.
many universes.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just curious, because that's the only way I've ever heard it told, and I was just wondering if there was any other way. But
there's probably, like, I would be 99% sure there's a Elseworld story out there where he becomes Batman some other way, but I wouldn't be able to tell you one off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. He's just walking down the street one day and gets punched in the face. Says, "I'm Batman." It's knocked into being Batman. Anyway, so board games and tabletop games. That's where we're going. That's where we're steering the train right now. This train is not even on a track anymore. But yeah. So I'm just gonna throw it to you, Jordan. Just take it away and educate us about this passion that you have.
Yeah, I do love board games. I haven't played as much lately, just with me and my wife being on completely different schedules. But I really got into board games when I met her, because she was into board games. Like she even played Magic for a while, and then I made fun of her for it, and so she threw away all her cards, and now I feel really bad about
What a
Aw,
jerk!
it. I know.
Jordan.
I feel so bad. Like I'll still bring it up and be like, I'm so sorry. But I figured the first thing we could kind of go over is what makes board games so fun. Even if you don't play that many, you've probably played like Monopoly or something and had a good time with it. But for me, I think board games are just a lot, or tabletop games are just a lot of fun because it's unplugging. You're getting away from the technology, and we're around technology nearly 24/7 nowadays. And I love gaming, like video gaming and stuff. But it is nice to sit around a table with some friends or your wife or family and play a game and just have a good time together. There's competitive games, and a lot of times those can get out of hand. But there's also cooperative games that are a lot of fun to play. So that to me, it just makes is one thing that makes board games a lot of fun. I don't know
Yeah.
if either of you have any ideas about what y'all think make board games
Yeah,
fun.
really, it's all about the social aspect
Yeah.
of board games, and I guess you could argue with video games too. Definitely the community around everything, but it's just the fact that you're with someone in person, and you're having an experience together. Whether that be competitive and you're at each other's throats or just social. And I know that there was a lot of times, a couple times when me and my wife, we have met a new couple or something like that, or someone from church or someone else in town. We've played a board game with them, and it's a really good way to get to know someone. And if it's a hard board game, you see their demons come out, and it's it can be a good time.
Yeah, that's a good point about, especially with competitive games. 'Cause I remember one time me and my wife were playing with my sister, and it was a Star Wars Monopoly game, and it was one of the versions where you can be on teams. There's the red team and the blue team, or the light side and the dark side. And me and my sister were on the dark side, whereas Courtney was on the light side. And so eventually, I mean, me and my sister are still competing against each other, but we can also help each other because we're on the same side. And so eventually we start teaming up on Courtney, and man, did she get
Oh no.
frustrated. Like she ended up just leaving the table and was, I don't want to go into too much detail. I don't know if she listens to these or not, but she'd get mad at me. But it was just, you got to be careful sometimes because it can definitely start some fights.
Cutthroat. Yeah.
I,
What about
Wow.
you, Joey?
Man, okay, so I grew up playing Monopoly, Candyland, and Risk, and Sorry, and Life with my cousins, and because they were always around, and my friends were always around, and so we're playing Monopoly, and a specific member of my family was getting so upset that they were losing that they just quit. And like you said, you see their demons come out. Well, he wasn't really. I wouldn't say there was his demons coming out, but he's just sportsmanlike conduct, I guess, in board game world.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was kind of funny to watch. I admit, because he was losing, and I hate to pick on him, but it was funny the way he was acting, and he laughs at it now, looking back on it. But I think board games are a great social experience, and I've never used a board game to get to know someone because I've never really been in that situation, I guess. But that's a good point. And today
Could be a good icebreaker.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're not sitting around and just talking about the weather.
The weather or the news. Heaven forbid.
Yeah.
But we were talking. Me and Julia were talking. Girlfriend, we're talking about playing a board game together sometime in the latter part of the year, 2016, and we ended up playing Monopoly on New Year's Eve together, and it was just the two of us, and we had a really good time just playing Monopoly. And she won, but that's beside the point. It was a really good time, and I think it's so ridiculous. I think it's interesting, but it's kind of ridiculous that Monopoly is now a digital game along with Risk and some other board games, because it takes away that social gathering aspect that you don't get in a video game, or even at a I don't know, Just board. I guess just board games, but
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the words are coming out.
Yeah.
But one thing that I just thought of, I don't know what's happened to me in the past couple of months, but I've just become this collector addict. And I think it would just be cool to just have this arsenal of, board games, and not like your typical, Monopoly and Candyland or whatever you're doing. But there's so many like off the wall games run through Kickstarter. I don't know a lot about it, so I can't really name any. But there just seems to be so many cool experiences that you can have through board games. And I think it'd be cool to just have like a closet full and just be like, oh, well, let's see what we can do tonight, and
right.
Select
very
something
easy.
and just, yeah.
It's very easy to slip. It's like, I guess I'm saying it's a slippery slope, the world of board games, because we're in like, and if you don't follow the board game world or the tabletop world or whatever, you may not know this, but we're in like the golden age of board games right now. There's literally like new ones coming out every single month. There's tons going through Kickstarter, and they're successful. Fantasy Flight Games, one of the biggest board game publishers, are coming out with new games all the time. They're coming out with expansions to their already existing board games, and you have publishers like Cool Mini or Not. They do a lot of their stuff on Kickstarters. They come out with stuff it seems like 3 or 4 games a year. And I think when me and my wife started really buying them, we probably over the course of a year spent close to $1,000 on board games.
Oh,
like we built up it's an okay collection.
And they're not cheap either.
Yeah, you can get them. You can get board games for as cheap as $15 or as expensive as $100. Or there's a game called Kingdom Death Monster that is $400.
Whoa.
Yes, it's crazy.
It's a little much.
But
It's a little much.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, like y'all said, to play with a spouse or a girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever. I wish I had a board gaming group, but it's really just me and my wife that plays, so we stick to the 2-player games. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to get into the two types of board games, and there's Euro style and Ameritrash. Now I was doing some research on this last night.
What did you just say?
Ameritrash. So American trash.
What did you call me?
What does that make you think? It sounds like it's like a negative connotation, obviously, because it has the word trash in it, right?
Trash.
No, Ameritrash.
Like. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm illiterate, so.
Now that it's not used as much anymore because they're kind of just getting blurred between what's what. But Euro games are more, and I say this, I don't mean it negatively. They're like dry. There's no theme. It's just it is less luck and more skill based, which makes them a little more popular because it's not a bunch of dice rolling. You actually have to strategize and plan ahead to win. But games that I think of that are Euro are like Settlers of Catan, which that does have a little luck in it. That's pushing the boundaries, I think, because that does have
I played that one.
And I honestly don't play that many Euro styles, but there's tons of them. There's like Castles of Burgundy is one. I'm just going to stop there because I honestly can't think of anything right now. But the term Ameritrash came from. Well, first I'll tell you what they are. It's luck heavy. It's dripped. It's like dripping in theme. So think of a popular IP like Star Wars or something, and put it to a board game. That's most likely an Ameritrash game. And obviously, at first, it was meant to be kind of you had the Euro snooty board gamers looking down on the American westernized, themed board games. They're like, oh, look at this Ameritrash. But eventually, board gamers just kind of took it and owned up to it. So it became.
I am offended.
They kind of just took, claimed it as their own, I guess. But nowadays, you don't really hear those two terms thrown around at all because you really have a lot of games that are both, or they can still be either or. But a lot of games are like, I guess, combining the two. I would definitely. I personally, I love theme games. Like if it has Star Wars or Fallout or Game of Thrones, those 3 IPs make up probably like 90% of the stuff I own board game wise.
Is there are there some cool Lord of the Rings games?
Yes, there's actually one called War of the Ring. It's a two-player game. They actually just released their, I want to say, 10th anniversary edition last year, and I was going to get it, but it was, I want to say it was close to $400
Oh,
because it came with minis that were handcrafted, painted. It was beautiful, and I just couldn't bring myself to spend that much.
Oh wow, that would be awesome.
Oh no, I wanted it so
Yeah.
bad.
awesome.
That's definitely one of the most popular ones.
Wouldn't
There's
even
also,
play the game. I just put the little figures everywhere.
yeah, put them on a shelf. There's also a deck building game for not Game of Thrones. There's also that for Lord of the Rings. That's a co-op. I've heard that's a lot of fun, but I haven't gotten into that yet. But I'm sure there's more. And obviously, you have the other games like Monopoly. There's Lord of the Rings Monopolies and Risk and stuff. But when you really get into the board game world, you let go of those peasant board games like Monopoly or something.
Peasant board games. Simpletons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. That's really all I was going to talk about on the Euro versus Ameritrash. But like I said,
Right.
I
Those are the
love
main
new
differences.
games. And there's
Yeah.
also you got tabletop games, board games, card games. I play a lot of card games like deck builders, and there's a lot of them that are like Magic, or I guess a lot of them are like Magic, and there's a lot that aren't. So you have living card games, trading card games, collectible card games. I think that might be about it. I know.
So when you say deck building, and again, my only knowledge comes from Hearthstone, where there's literally thousands of cards, and they all do different things, or some odd different things, and you build a deck, and then you try to take down another person's health. I guess I would say, is that kind of what you mean by deck building, or is it something different?
Yes, it's kind of similar. Like there's some of the more popular ones is there's Dominion is a real popular deck builder. It's probably the grandfather of deck builders. But you start with 5 cards in hand, and so some of the cards are gold or currency. Some cards are useless; they're just there to fill up space. And so I have 5 cards. I use the gold to buy more cards, and then I put them in my discard pile. And then when my draw deck is empty, I reshuffle my discard pile, draw 5 more cards. So you always have 5 cards in hand, and you play those to either buy cards. In Dominion specifically, you have to buy cards that have these points on them that will help you win the game. There's also like Game of Thrones. The living card games like Game of Thrones is a little different. It's like Magic or Pokemon or something, except that every card pack has the same amount of cards in them and the same cards, so everybody's on the same playing field. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars trying to get like a legendary or something. So you have ones like that are a lot of fun because they're easy to keep up with, and you play those like you'll play a character like Robb Stark or something, and he has ability, and you use him to attack your player you're playing against, and you collect these. I can't remember the name. It's been a while since I played it, but these little crowns. And the first one, the 15 crowns, wins the game. So there's a couple different styles, but they are all similar to like, I would say, in my opinion, they are to like Hearthstone or Magic.
Yeah, you could compare more to Magic than Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's awesome. What would you say? How should I say this? If you could pick one of the games that you have, what would you say your favorite is?
My favorite overall, and this would not be popular to like, I don't want to say stuck up board gamers, but to board gamers who play a lot more than I do. But I like this game called DC Comics Deck Builder. It's a card game, obviously. It's one of the more simple ones, but I love it. For one, I love DC. I love the characters. 2, you can literally put it up, or I guess set it out, play the game, and then put it back up within like a 30-minute time span. So it's quick. It's a good co-op game, so me and Courtney can play it together. It's just a lot of fun. She beats me at it 90% of the time, so that part is frustrating. But it's one of the first deck builders I bought. It is a simple one. There's not a whole lot of strategy to it. You have your five cards, and so I might have a card that says like draw a card. So I'll play that, draw a card. I'm trying to remember. It's hard to picture all this in my head. And then you have a lineup of 5 cards on the table that is available for players to draft. And then you have the arch enemy or villain, I guess, super villain. And so you're also trying to spend cards to defeat the super villain. And when all that pile is gone, the game is over and you count up your points. But it is a lot of fun to play. I would probably say if I had to get rid of all of them, I'd keep that one just because that's the one we play the most. It may not be the best game, but it's the one we play the most.
It's the one you get the most time out of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about me, I just could never get into card games. We actually just bought a card game, Uno, and that's the only one I could have ever played. I swear. But like, I don't know. I guess
you're a pretty big fan of solitaire.
I mean, solitaire even makes me mad, to be honest.
You should try though, because card game. I don't like card games either. Like the regular, you get a deck of cards and play. I don't know, Skip-Bo or whatever. I don't like those stuff, but I like the deck builders. They're just a lot of fun. It's awesome because you literally start with 5 cards, and by the end you have like 40 or 50 or something. And it does take strategy, knowing what to buy, when to buy it, or when to defeat whatever. So I wouldn't mark them out. You can literally get these games. The DC deck builder game is by a company called Cryptozoic. They have DC. They have Lord of the Rings. They have Attack on Titan, which goes with our show that we're watching right now. And they're only, I want to say, $20 or $30 for a box. And everything you need is in one box. You don't have to get any expansions or anything.
I probably have to try it one time. And
I wouldn't write it off.
I don't know. Card games never really drew me towards them, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it might be, I don't know. I was going to say tedious, but that's not right. I guess just having to learn more, that's not right either. I don't know.
Joey. Between last week and your retro games that you never played, and this, I just
terrible.
Still looking for that new co-host. Still in there.
Yeah, it's out there. Send your resumes.
No, but really, I'm in the same boat as you, Joey. I haven't played many board games at all, much. But I played Settlers of Catan a couple times with some friends, and that's a really good one. It's really in depth, and I like that. And it can get pretty cutthroat, pretty intense at the same time. Yep. Someone takes your wood or your stone or whatever. It gets pretty crazy. But I think I told somebody, I think it was you, Jordan, about a game that I saw not too long ago called 5 Minute Dungeon, I think is the name of it.
Yeah.
And I really that would be like, that just sounds so awesome. And what it is basically you have there's a timer, and you pick your class and you fight a boss with other players. And there's like a mage and a warrior and like all these other different classes, and you try to take this boss down as quickly as you can through like rolling and stuff like that. And it just seems like a quick, short, good time, So I would be all into something like that. It was really cool.
That's another cool thing about board games is there's just so many different varieties. You have games that will take you 10 minutes, and there are games that will take you like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then there's Monopoly, which will take like 70 days to actually finish. But I have actually 2 big box games that I just haven't played yet, that because they're just so intimidating. So I enjoy the quicker ones because they're easier to learn, and it's not a huge time commitment. But I have this awesome Star Wars game called Star Wars Rebellion, and oh man, it looks so cool. I've had it for almost 2 years and I haven't opened it yet. I've opened it, but I haven't like set everything out to play.
Yeah.
Oh.
One day I will though. But yeah, I love how there's so many different types, and you can literally find a game for almost any occasion.
Yeah, it's a good time. Speaking of games that last for days, we've mentioned before that we've started a D&D campaign, and we've got our dungeon master here with us, as always.
So, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. can be a very easy going experience, or you could have someone that is super experienced in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons, and it can be very complicated. Starting off, Dungeons and Dragons can be played with physical accessories, miniatures, maps, boards, whatever. Or you can use something called Theater of the Mind. Basically, Theater of the Mind is
Imagination.
using your imagination, and everything comes out of the DM's brain, or whatever they've written down on paper to help them along. And I think one of the most interesting ways to play is a combination of the two. Using a map or a board of some kind is usually called tactical, and that is basically just using pen and paper, draw on some kind of surface, and kind of lay out the land or the grid or the battle area or the zone, and use that as an aid to help describe just a town or a combat zone, or just set up some kind of scenery for in some kind of interaction. And it's really more of a cooperative storytelling experience, more so than combat. Like I said, it depends on the DM themselves. And I think in our session, we're going to keep it more cooperative, story driven, more so than combat.
That's what you think. Wait till the end when I go rogue.
You might make some rash decisions. But
Yeah.
there's something.
You're into it though. I mean,
I am.
You've been a good leader for all of us in this journey. Doing all the research and doing literally everything. I mean, you do everything, and we show up.
Literally, what the DM does. The DM is there to make sure everyone else has a good time, and make sure that they are enjoying themselves. That there's no there's going to be sad parts that happen. There's going to be some sad parts that happen.
So I just had a thought. Do people pay dungeon masters like to DM their games? Like, are there like professional dungeon masters?
I've never looked into that specifically, but I have no doubt that is the case somewhere. Because
I mean, you have to be pretty talented to just create a story on your own, and lead other people through it.
Oh yeah. If you ever watch watch or listen to the podcast Critical Role, Matt Mercer, his whole campaign is from his head, and he uses both tactical maps, minis, and Theater of the Mind, which he is great at. Theater of the Mind really paints a good picture. Something I would like to do eventually down the road. But this is definitely an experience that you could do with your family or your friends. If someone doesn't know how to play, you can dumb down the rules. You could throw out some rules. It's just literally your game, the way you want to play it with the people that you're playing with. And I think that's really cool because you can play with just about anyone. I've read stories on Reddit that people played with their 10-year-old brother and sister, and they've made it dumb down the seriousness of it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's some moral conflicts or something along the lines in some games.
But they don't make it like choose your own adventure. Right. Click left to go here.
Yeah.
Click or right to go here.
The DM going to give you the whole scenario and the whole backstory of what's going on, assuming you make the correct perception roll or the correct insight roll if you're doing investigation. And these characters, you build your character from a race, class, alignment, and you can even pick a deity if you want. And like I said, everything in the rule book is really up to your choice. Like I could throw out certain rules. But, I mean, it's just a really flexible game to play. You don't have to have any materials. You can do it all in your person on with your people without doing anything. For example, we're playing over Discord.
Right. Like, I think it's really cool that you don't. I mean, obviously, if you were all together, that would be awesome. But I think it's really cool that we're still able to do it, even though we're far away from each other.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's really all up to the theater of the mind how well your DM is good at describing things. Sometimes, 'cause he or she may miss some details, but with the two of you and Leighton and Julia, that's a well-rounded party of a group of people, and all of us are new. We're all learning, and I've got the rule books and the our campaign module and everything else for us to get going. But I mean, the starter set is only like $20, and that's what I was going to initially use to get us going. But I wanted to know everything, so I bought the rest of the stuff, and also bought some more minis. But I don't know if you guys saw those or not.
I did. Are you gonna paint those?
Yes. Eventually.
Man. So is there like one for each of us?
Yes.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Got your dwarf with your warhammer.
Ha! I'm ready. It's awesome. So yeah, like, we really wanted to share about, some board games and tabletop games this week and kind of give our views on that. But let's move on to our game and show of the month. Did you guys play any Broforce this week?
I did not.
Did not.
Anyone?
I don't know if will unless we just decide as a group to go back and play it, or if we have listeners that decide they want to play it with us. I don't know that I mean, it's a fun game, but I don't have any desire to beat it. It's not like a heavily story game or anything.
Yeah, if there was more narrative to it, then I might. But...
So here's the thing: a lot of games that are in a way of, formatted in a way like Broforce is they seem to be pretty chill arcade type games.
Mm-hmm.
You can play for a little bit and put down. But the thing with Broforce is if you play by yourself, that game is infuriatingly hard. And I mean, you die in one hit no matter what. Like there's no handholding or support, or there's hardly any checkpoints or armor. Like you're dead.
That is true. I wonder
immediately.
If there's anyone that's soloed the game.
And it's doable. Because there are some games that you cannot play with. You can't play with anyone else, and the bro that you have throughout that level doesn't change. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're with Bro Guyver or whoever, and you have to beat him through the whole level, and you can't switch him off. And it really depends on who you get. Like the one where I played, that was the last one I played, I think his name is Bro Guyver. He's MacGyver, and he throws bombs and turkeys. But I played as him, and it was just so hard because he didn't have any range. Like he just throws a little stick of dynamite and it blows up, And so I made it through that level by just blowing up the ground and just tunneling under everything, and making it to the end and throwing a bomb on Satan's face. And it took me a very long time. Like when I'm playing with myself, like my strategy, I guess it's the same as regular when you're playing with other people. I mean, it's just jump around and shoot. Like it's just so much stuff going on. That and got the guy with the jetpack. I think his name is what's his name, Jordan? You got him.
Oh yeah, it's somebody I didn't know who they were trying to say.
Broketeer.
Yeah,
he's just a rocketeer. Yeah. And he can fly, and so I got him, and I just flew past everybody and made it to the end. And so that's pretty easy. So just run past everything, shoot your gun, tunnel underground, do everything you can to not get shot in the face.
Mm-hmm. Or the foot, or literally anywhere, because it'll kill you.
You'll die, and you will just implode, and it's terrible. And you're so sad for your bro, and the narrator screams at you, no! And he gets really angry when you die.
We need to choose another knot and go play that again.
It's definitely a fun game. Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to keep playing it.
Playing it by myself.
I like the challenge of it. It's very challenging. I have to put it down, because it gets so hard when you're playing by yourself. But I would like to get through the the single player ones. Not that there's anything special except for eliminating terrorism. That's the end game. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going through it for sure. But did you guys watch any Attack on Titan?
Yeah, I'm pretty much finished up with the show.
Yeah, you're done. I know Joey's gonna let us down, but
gotta keep my streak going, right? No, I watched a little bit over the weekend. Then Monday is like, no, good, and it's subscription just. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah. So, but you said what episode you say you made it to again?
12.
Okay.
So you did see Eren get in Titan form, or I don't know if you found out that was Eren, but oh well. Spoiler.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil like the whole show right now. This show's been out forever, and we're just now watching it, and so hey, here we go. But do you know what he's talking about with Eren becoming a Titan?
No.
So Eren becomes a Titan, and I still don't know why. Jordan, you finished it. Do you find out? Don't tell me, but did you find out why?
No, I don't think so, unless I missed it. I did watch some of it in Japanese, so I could have just overlooked it. But you know what? There's a lot of stuff you don't really. I don't know. Still don't know where the Titans come from.
There is a second season.
Too. There is a second season. I'm sure there will be more after that. And I think one of our friends did say that they do answer some of those questions in season 2. So, but I guess that is part of the appeal too, is you don't find everything out, right away or ever, maybe. I don't know. But it was cool. Did you know that was Eren as a Titan when we first saw the Titan?
Yeah, I had a feeling because I mean, he freaking dies very early on. And so, and then as soon as he dies, you see this Titan that is fighting for, the army, the humans, basically. He's fighting other Titans. And so I was like, I wasn't for sure, but I mean, it's got to be him.
Yeah.
It's a very odd looking one though. Like it looks like an elf,
Yeah, he has a pointy ears. It is different.
Doesn't really make any sense. So I'd like to know where that stems from. But yeah, I'm on 20, and I got to the female Titan, and so that's been a drawn out thing. It was just like the female Titan just got captured, and
where did she get captured at?
Like in the woods.
Okay,
and
it's not over.
Yeah, and I guess and like she gets eaten by like the other Titans, and then kills like the girl that's the girl that's in the female Titan, kills like the guy that's leading that one little battalion in the forest, and that was the last thing I saw. But
yeah, it gets pretty crazy there towards the end, and it kind of the ending, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot being resolved at the end. Like when they do find out.
See, that's what I'm worried about, because I really do love this show. I think it's a great show. It's not my favorite, but I've enjoyed watching it. It's really wanted me to keep watching, but I just want I want some conclusion here. Yeah. Realistically, this show could be summed up in about 3 episodes. Not a lot really happens. It's just there's a couple little cliffhangers that keep you going, and the action is really cool. And so that's really my thoughts on it so far. But I don't remember if I said it last time, but the second theme of the show drives me nuts. I feel like it sounds like a national anthem.
It does. That's what I think every time.
And I don't. And maybe it is. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I like my anime intros to be very, very, very Japanese punky. Yeah. So, that's cool. The outro is really good. I love that. I'll sit through the credits and listen to that because I think it's really cool. Yeah. Can we take a minute and just kind of go back on our feedback that we got about the pronunciation of Mikasa's name?
Oh, yeah.
None of us could remember her name.
I said Misaka. I had the S and the K backwards.
Misaka. Mikasa Sukasa.
Right?
What'd you say?
It's officially Mikasa, right?
Yes.
Like Mikasa Sukasa.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not a Spanish name. Mikasa. We got it. We got it right. Just don't hurt us, please. We can do it. But yeah, it's a good show. And I'm pumped to finish it. I'll probably finish it in a few days.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I'm going to watch season 2 or not.
Yeah, you will.
I mean, eventually.
I'm the same boat. I know next week is our last. Well, I guess we'll talk about that, what we're going to be doing. But I don't know if I'm going to watch season 2. I know, like, because you've been saying it makes you want to keep watching, but I just didn't get that. I mainly watched it out of not obligation because I finished most of it before we even did the podcast, but just because I kept getting caught up in the hype. Like, people would hype it up, and I'm like, okay, let me go try this again. And I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever watch season 2. And I didn't hear it was that good compared to season 1 either. So
yeah. Well, on the topic of anime, though, actually really related to Attack on Titan. I think it's the same director, but the Death Note movie comes out tomorrow.
Oh, is that tomorrow?
Yeah, comes out the 25th. So we're recording this on a Thursday. So if you're listening to it when it comes out, probably on Monday, Death Note will already be out. But that is one of my favorite animes. I love Death Note. It's just it's like mind blowing. You know, I like to compare Breaking Bad to Death Note because it's a very similar story to how the character changes throughout the show. But
yeah. That's one of the ones I've watched, and I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not expecting the movie to be great, but I am expecting to still enjoy it.
Yeah, they already have live action movies for Death Note, but they're in Japanese and they're really not good. But I'm excited to see what this will do. Like, I'm not getting my hypes up either, but I love the show and I'm ready to see what Netflix can do with it. So
yeah,
be sweet. I think it's the same director or something like that.
I couldn't tell you.
It has ties to both shows for sure. So
you would say watch the anime before live action?
Absolutely. I would say.
Yeah. Coming from a guy who doesn't really like anime, Death Note was super good. I honestly, though, I didn't finish it. I started watching the episodes after. Well, I don't want to spoil it now, but
yeah, don't, because that's
Makenzie, you might know what I'm talking about. Like, after the main thing concludes, and then the second thing.
There's another arc. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't finish that because I don't know. It seemed like it wrapped up just fine after the first arc.
Yeah, both of you. That's your homework. It's a really short show, so it's really good. But anyway, I think it's going to do it for us this week. As always, thanks for listening. And we really want to know how we're doing. So, and a good way to do that is for you guys to leave us feedback. We have an email, which is nerdprocessing@gmail.com. And a better way to do that is to leave us feedback is through iTunes. You can leave us a review on iTunes. Let us know if you love us, if you hate us. We'd love to hear, how we can improve and make this show better for people that are listening.
I'd also love to hear how much you hate us too.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah. Bring on the trolls. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter @nerdprocessing and join our Discord channel with the link down in the show notes. Hopefully, we're going to have a YouTube and Twitch channel going up soon and be bringing some live shows to you guys. So that will be exciting, and we're ready to do that, but don't have a date on that yet. We'll be soon. Anyway, with that, thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
I look how you look at the camera at the end, like they can see you.
Podcast.